Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Guess the WN8, where my viewers submit games and I have to guess their stats based on their gameplay. If I guess within 250 of their WN8, or 2% of their wins, then I win! Huzzah! If I don't, then I give them gold. Now, this is another paid replay. You want to learn how to submit, you can look in the description. Using the paid submission link will guarantee that your replay is used, though you can also submit for free via Discord as well. Now, this replay we have is an IS-7, an IS-7 platoon, by the looks of it. Double whammy. How fun. Okay, so what are we immediately thinking of? Well, we've got 2,730 hit points on deck from a base of 2,400. So we're working with bond hardening, a llama, and Grousers. Grousers, lava, then turbo. Now that is very interesting. We've also got not a premium consumable, I guess technically, like not food. Instead, we've got improved gasoline, or whatever the hell it's called now, plus 10% to engine power. So maybe this guy knows something that I don't know, that Grousers is actually better for the IS-7 than turbo. Could be the case with this setup. I have no certainty on that. What I do know is that we got a top speed here of 59.6. And what Grousers do is they allow you to maintain that top speed as well as making your traverse speed a lot better. So this IS-7 is certainly going to feel better in the turning department than it might otherwise do. Are we going for... That is quite an accurate shot from this 0.4 accuracy on this gun with a 2.9 second aim time, by the way. We're in a top tier game here, which is very, very nice. And what do we think if that shell... If that shell had hit, what would it have hit? What are we thinking? Baltic, ship pack, maybe a holy... Ooh, a guard at distance. Okay, doesn't bend the side of the IS-7. Not too surprising there. Squander the repair kit for the RT hit. Now... Oh, I guess that's a replay bug. Like, both of his things were... Oh, no, I guess he moved the stun as well. Okay. Well, we've got premium APCR and all of it. We have no standard shells. Kind of understandable on the IS-7. It kind of has like a 50B problem where there's literally no point other than finances to firing standard ammo, because it's got 250 pen and goes up to 303 with premium. Now, getting up to the hill here was always going to be the goal in the IS-7, unless you've got some kind of ambition going down low. I've seen IS-7s make plays down to the south before, certainly is viable, and that is not the way you want to poke in a 277. And look at this dear old FV getting stuck in. Love to see that on a bottom tier medium tank, just throwing himself in, opening up that advantage that these guys had very, very quickly. And I imagine that 277 was not expecting to see these IS-7s, perhaps, both with the same setups, get to the hill that quickly. Because the thing about the 277 is, people will say it's more, or I would say it's more mobile. Oh, and the cruelty to this Panzer Cup. People will say, I would say that it's more mobile than the IS-7. It feels more like a T10 or more like a WZ-1114, in that it's kind of a medium heavy, whereas the IS-7 in some capacities feels more like a heavy. But the IS-7 has that top speed, right? It's very fast if it can get up to that top speed, but it can't always do so. Perhaps emphasizing the choice of, unlucky there, good aim. Well, I say good aim. Emphasizing the choice, perhaps, of the Grousers over the turbo, right? The top speed of the IS-7 is already good. It's better than the 277. But its ability to get to and maintain that top speed is lesser. So certainly an interesting argument to be made. Now, let's point out a couple of things about the engagement on the Panzerquad there. I mean, the Panzerquad was utterly hopeless in that engagement, but even more so because its gun mantlet is complete garbage. So, yes, it's a tier 10 heavy tank that you can literally shoot in the face and pen almost every time, whilst killing the gunner as well. So, yeah. Oh, and did I mention that the other weak spot that only appears when it side snipes is exactly where its ammo rack is? People ask me why I hate that tank. I don't know. What could be the reason? Anyway, big old 40 TAs. Woo! And believe it or not, that's one of the rare applications of the HE shells on this tank. What is it? 58 pen? 68 pen for 640 alpha damage. Now, the line 40T has, I think, 30 millimeters of armor on the ass, so certainly could have connected there. Now, I kind of like this passivity. Like, we're not charging base, even though we're full health heavy tanks. The enemy currently aren't pressuring cap. And we've got to ask, do they really threaten a cap risk right now? Yes, there's a moderate threat. They could get the Borsig in there or something like that, but unless they do that, they're not going to overpressure cap with like 20 people at this point. So I kind of like the patience. We stayed on high ground. I'm always talking about it in these episodes. Why are we moving from the high ground to low ground? Or why are we targeting the tank in the low ground? I always moan at people about it. Here we have an example where they maintained high ground and didn't leave it for no apparent reason. Generally speaking, you only want to leave a high ground position if you are forced to. Right, if you are forced off of it. You want to stay high if you can. And these guys are able to dictate and control the engagement with the guys below them because they haven't forced themselves off of this powerful position. Now, the IS-7 doesn't have a huge ammo capacity, so while in other tanks like maybe a Superconk or certainly it's something like a Maus or some of the other German heavies, that is a bad poke and you know it. You'd be blind shotting here, perhaps. In the IS-7, you've got to be a tad more conservative with your shells. Okay. Now things are settling down. Now we kind of want to start moving a little bit. The usefulness of this high ground, while it was appreciated, has sort of stagnated. That's 2 shells from the Scharfhüter. 4 seconds between the shells. We're going to know that, so we're going to get in. Should be able to kill this for the T. Risk of a side shot on the guard, but it hasn't happened yet, so it probably won't happen at all. Right, leaving one IS-7 on the high ground is questionable at this point, because the high ground is still held. Like, you got the Sonar on high, you got the E50 down in this dip, and you got the XM covering him from high as well. So I don't think this position is particularly useful anymore. The play in this location would be either to relocate to about there, or most likely support this position. Oh, actually, no, I don't think that works, really, because if you pressure this position with the IS-7, then potentially this other IS-7 on high is useful for, you know, preventing a flank from the Scharfhüter or something like that. But I think you could prevent that just as easily by literally sending this IS-7 in the same manner. So my man just hit the gun of a Borsig. That's a day. Okay, incoming fire from the guard. Why is that focus right now? Why is that focus? You know the Scharfhüter was almost out of shells. He's probably on the reload. Why are we turning with a .4 accuracy gun with a 2.9 second aim time? Are you going to kill that guard? Is that guard going to die and magically not be a threat in the side? No, you're not dealing with that position, because if the guard dies, the whole league can still take the position, and the whole league could be there anyway. We're spotted here. Why are we staying here? Is it because we're waiting for this guy? Ah, no, we've got to push out here. We can't sit here in the potential crossfire. Maybe we're waiting. Maybe we're waiting. I don't like it. I want to push forward. No, he's potentially got one more shell left. You've got to get out of here. At this point, you've got to turn. Yes, you've got to turn towards... Okay, cool. So earlier we had the opportunity to push towards those tanks, but we squandered it a little, waiting for that shot. I would have liked to push forward into this position, use the cover of the houses to shield from the right side, but now your finally IS-7 is going in. Now, I don't like the fact that we're focused on different... Okay, E50 died. Why are we blind shotting? There's an active... Is there no communication? Are you guys not on voice comms? There should have been, hey, I'm going in, pay attention, target reach environment, targets are gonna come up, right? Interesting. Because the thing is about that position, for where you are, is it's only really a threat when you are spotted by these guys. As soon as these guys fell back and that Chafford Hill was unloading, like, I understand trying to support the E50, that's viable, but certainly not when you're actively pushing this flank. Intriguing. Okay. This is a fine location, I would argue. You're not in a huge amount of danger of being spotted. Unless that Borsig is being very, very sneaky. Okay, IS-7 does get lit. And we are pinging what I believe to be an accurate, or at least a decent estimate. I can't be happy about that. I did our work for the first time in 6 years. Yesterday, 6 years, 6 months. And now my Actus Dominus is not very, very happy with me at all. Yeah, the Selma is being the Grand Central Station of disappointment right now. Speaking of, the Lorraine has managed to drown himself, which is quite a remarkable achievement. Okay, 10 shells left. 3 tanks left on the enemy team. Now we can be a little bit more liberal when it comes to our ammo count. We wanted to conserve it earlier when there were loads of targets, lots of health to chew through, but now blind fires. I love that blind fire on the Borsig. That is a very astute blind kill. Okay. And at this point, I like the fact that we've switched the aggression. Right? One IS-7 went forward, now we're one shot, now this IS-7 is defensive. Right? Shows a good awareness of the need to keep guns in the game. Remember, a tank on 100 hit points does the same damage as a tank on 2,000 hit points. Keep your guns in the game, and if you're shooting at the enemy team, take guns out of the game. Very, very simple. Okay, this is an interesting one. I liked the positioning for the most part. There weren't any huge missteps. There was an unoptimal decision to stay in the middle here, although without the benefit... Starface, I'd be curious. When you returned to make the engagement on the guard instead of pushing on here, was that something you were cognizant of? Were you waiting for your other IS-7 to come up? Were you talking to each other about, okay, you push this and I'll wait here? Or because I can understand if it's like a joint decision, like you were having the other IS-7 come in to push. It was more afraid of side shots. But I mean, as soon as the guard presented and he bounced, didn't he? Yeah, he bounced an APCR shell. You know that the guard, or you should know that the guard has some of the worst DPM in the entire game on any medium tank at the tier. So you've got at least sort of 11, 12 seconds of just funny movement with a 10% bonus horsepower improved Bowser's IS-7. Like, even in that land, which is probably soft or medium terrain, you could have probably pressed up to the houses before even taking another shot. The reason I think that was the play to make is because of the presence of the Ho-Rani there as well. The guard shooting at you is one thing, but the longer you stay there, the more time this Ho-Rani has to relocate, and that has a far better chance of taking you out in that position. So I think the better play there would have been to push up to the houses, not beyond them, but within this house, and you still have decent side sniping potential on the Chaufeteur and the Borsig. Failed to be aware of the chart. Oh, you weren't counting the shells. Ah, that would explain it. If you weren't really sure what the Chaufeteur had on you. Alright. I'm feeling sort of 54, 55, somewhere around there. Could go higher, it could go sort of 50. I might go 55. The highest I go is 56, but I think that's a little high. I'm gonna go 54.97. That's what I'm gonna go. 54.97. One of the things that makes the win rate, like, instantly a little higher is the location off the side of the hill when you were descending at, like, A8. Like, you didn't go linearly into multi-level engagements present on that flank, came down off the hill, got up to the side, and started pushing through the mid, took that high ground, held the high ground, so it could be higher. It could be like 55.97 would be an alternate estimate. I'll go 54, though. 54.97, and I'll go 1,999 WN8. I think he's 1 off 2k, and he's very sad about it. Starphase. Let's have a look. Ooh, okay. Okay. I was not far off. Not far off. My estimate of 55.97 would have been good. Ironically, I lowered it to 54 and missed my 2% window. But I was in 250 of the WN8 though. Win rate recently is very nice. Been doing very well there. And WN8 going up as well. Like to see that. Good stuff! You would miss mine by a mile was on a light tank lane. Well, that's why I have win rate as well. Right? Because I feel like that's fairer, because you are correct. Right? WN8 is not a perfect encapsulation of player skill. I have a pretty damn low WN8 for my win rate. I win like 62% of games, and my WN8 hovers around like 2.5 at the best of times. Like, 2.5 is good, to be clear, but it's not amazing. It's not fantastic. It's not breaking any records. But it's because of the way I play. One, I play a lot of light tanks, and two, my gameplay is very sort of tactical, rather than based on fighting my way out of a situation. So much of my gameplay is predicated on enabling other people on my team to contribute and to do damage and put myself in a good position. And yeah, it goes to show that WN8 is, as I say, not the best indication of player skill level. Ladies and gentlemen, replay number 2, another paid submission. I appreciate you very much. The Manticore. Oh, a tank with a battleship gun, according to Wargaming. I'm never gonna stop being mad about that advertising. Be unstoppable indeed. Okay, so fully field modded Manticore here. How do I know that? Well, 1,400 base hit points. Here we're sitting with 1,470. Yes, the field mods on the Manti give it more hit points. So, yeah, that's something. Let's look at the setup here. Okay. I'm judging a little bit. Just a little bit. We have a bounty exhaust, fine. Very good. Manticore on the move camo is probably somewhere around the second best in the game. Oh, like 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth best in the game. Thanks, Jonty. But we have the CVS not in the scouting slot. Scouting slot on the Manti is the first slot, as on any light tank. But we got coated optics in the scouting slot. It does get a bonus from that, obviously, but it goes from 10% to 11. Well, 11.5? I'm bad at math. But the point being, you would get so much more benefit out putting a CVS in the scouting slot for most of the roles that it performs. The thing about that is that you have bounty optics, you have bond optics that don't get the bonus. I don't know why I'm talking about that because he clearly doesn't have them, but the point is, like, you use a bounty optics and then you put the CVS that doesn't have a bond and bounty version in the CVS slot. Anyway, I'm judging because it's suboptimal. We got a natural cover directive, believe it or not. Natural cover, or the natural cover directive, gives more camo than the exhaust system directive. So if you're ever wondering which one should I use natural cover, because with a full camo crew it is better. Now we've got 12 standard shells, 8 APCR, and one of the few times I'm not judging someone for taking no HE shells. We just discussed it with chat. HE shells have 60 pen, 480 alpha damage. Essentially, they're garbage. They're stocking fillers. And this stocking shrunk in the wash, and we can't fit more than 20 shells in it. So no one really takes HE more than like one shell on the Manti, and here's an example of that. Now the 12 shells of AP have 248mm of pen, and with Plinium 268. And this is... wow, okay, very odd camera work as we got into position there. But this is a very good position for defensive assault, because we can see what we're doing. We're spotting all of these guys. We get good vision on this hill. We cover any approaches here. It's a really nice forward scouting position. We get vision into the mid as well. So this is kind of what I like to see in the Manticore. This is really good to start off with. And the ship pack finally opening up on that WZ, who is essentially perma-spotted at this point. Have to see how this proceeds. Now, it's worth noting, calling back to my CVS argument earlier, the Manti has a base view range of 400. Right? 400, which is very, very average at tier 10. I mean, I think 400 meters of view range is probably the average view range at tier 10, or very close to it. We compare it to other light tanks, it's kind of the middle of the pack. You've got the T100 LT with 390, you've got the AMX 13105, 390, you've got the IHM Panzerwagen 420, and the Sheridan at 420 as well. So, not breaking any records in that capacity. Obviously, with the optics here, it's going out to 440, discounting any crew skills or anything like that. But generally speaking, this is a general rule that you can use. If your view range is 445 or more, then you will get better bang for your buck out of CVS than you will out of optics. Like, you will literally spot more by the benefit of CVS than you will out of standard optics. So, worth considering. If you look at your view range and it says like 446, and you're considering, okay, should I take optics? No, take a CVS. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am a tad mystified as to how he suddenly got spotted there. Guess he wasn't entirely concealed in the bush. But I kind of like this. We need to get a little bit more distance, and we need to be asking the question, why did I get spotted? What changed what emerged that made me get spotted there, because that's relevant, important information. 0.39 accuracy working. Is it 0.39? 0.38. 0.38 accuracy with a 1.9 second aim time. The gun of the Manti does feel pleasant, it just doesn't feel like a battleship gun, which is what Wargaming said it was. Arguments in the comments. If they put me in charge of redesigning British light tanks, changing the guns. Senlac 250 Alpha. Not Senlac, sorry, Setter 250 Alpha. LHM TV 340. Let's go unique. Then we go to the tier 9. What the hell's the tier 9 British tank called? Okay, whatever the hell it's called. Give it 400. 400 Alpha. It's what it needs. And then the Manti, give it 500. G-Saw, thank you, Mindswerve. Give it 500 or 550. Make it have a thing. Make it justified for it to have only 20 shells. Or make it a 10. Ugh. I was so excited when I heard about battleship guns because I was an avid player of the WN8 back in the day. Not the WN8, the AMX ELC. This, as it's called now. Back in the day, the AMX ELC. Because that was always, it was the big hitter from stealth, you know, with that 90mm gun at tier 5, 175, base pen went up to 215 with premium, like, it could do a lot of damage to some pretty hefty tanks at the tier. That's what I thought the British light tanks were going to be. Are you scared of getting shot from a bush by a setter? No, you're feckin' not, and you never will be, because it doesn't have alpha damage, which is what it should have. And this is a lovely position to be in. Don't think I missed that bush work earlier, by the way. Reversing 15 meters behind the bush to fire. Let's remind ourselves that when we fire within 15 meters of foliage, that foliage, for a second or two, loses 70% of its camo rating, or to be more accurate, it goes down. It starts providing only 30% of its former camo value. Alright, so a 50% bush, when you fire through it, would be providing... Why have I done this to myself? Like 18% camo. Something like that. Somewhere around there. Alright? So it scales depending on the density of the foliage. Point being, if you're gonna fire, reverse 15 meters away until the foliage becomes opaque and then fire. That way, it won't lose any camo rating. It's what you see good players do when they want to hide while they put out damage. Okay, now we can start poking, we can start being aggressive. We're not really threatened here. We got guys behind us up on that hill. That's a side shot, lovely, very nice. And the second poke now is going to be covered by that bush. Okay, okay, don't panic and hold him. Don't panic and hold him, yes! Gorgeous, stopping him there was a really good play. Or it should have been. Oh, wow. I thought there was an angle on this side of this. Wow, I've learned something. I always thought there was an angle from up there on this side of the little pit here. Apparently there's not. Interesting. This is a good play, once again, because we draw him out into the line of fire of the ship pack for potentially a life-saving shell. I thought stopping him there was a good play. In hindsight, it wasn't. But get out there. Go, draw him out. I don't know how, by the way, the 200 LT missed a shot on the move. That's not really something that happens often. Okay, switching to high ground. Don't go low again. Do we go low again? Is it wise to go low again at this point? I don't like it, because we kind of allow him to jump in again. We should have stayed high here and gone back towards our team, our network of support. Like, he already engaged us once here. There's no reason to think he isn't going to do it again. Admittedly, we do have the far support of the ship back that we've been trying to get involved, but we could have been far safer here by staying on the high ground and just going out towards this way, right? Towards more of the contingent of our team. Okay. Okay, now we're trying to get out. T100 still coming. Misses again. Does take a hit from that ship pack, which is what we like. Meanwhile, back at the Type 4 Heavy. Okay, cool. Little duck to the left there to get the potential IS-3 in between you and the enemy would have been a nice thing to see, and that's silly. Could have aimed that a lot longer there. You had a lot more time. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Give it the Caliban gun as an option. 180 pen, 850 damage. That would be very funny. This is a difficult one. Because it's a light tank game, right, and people who play light tanks a lot, the WN8 is going to be stagnated because spotting damage does not contribute to WN8 in the same way that regular damage does. That said, there was awareness of decent scouting positions at the start. We relocated to a position that was proximal to the enemy, but showed awareness that we knew where the enemy wasn't. Right? As soon as that E5 came up here, we didn't go back towards safety, right? Back towards our spawn, which is indicative of inexperienced players. No, we said that, okay, there's a hole from here, so we went out there and started spotting and getting vision again, right? And then progressed to the hill. So that was a really good decision at that point because we knew that there was no occupation out there. And there was a constant flow of that throughout the game. The engagement on the LT at the end was not that great. I did like the ram and hold if that was done in an attempt to get far support from the ship pack. Because I talk about this in what video? It may be the Tips for TD's video. But it's the concept of dictating the enemy's mobility or options. And the example in that video was a tankless TD, you're in the middle of an open field and you're being flanked by a tank that's way faster than you. Which way do you turn? Right, left or right? And the answer is whichever way causes that enemy to have to stop and turn around, or reverse. The answer is whichever direction causes the enemy to slow down. Because even if you don't catch him, it makes him an easier shot for Artie and for your teammate. So you've always got to think about, he's going that way, okay, I'm going to turn that way so that he stops and either reverses or he turns around. Right, stops in the middle of the open and turns around. That also extends to the logic of stopping the enemy. If you know that you are in an engagement with an opposing tank and you know that you're in an area where your team has shots, or you think that that is the case, then ramming into someone, not for the purpose of damage, let's be clear, don't ram a T100 LT in a Manticore, right? Ramming into someone for the purpose of stopping them, slowing them down, making them an easier shot for your team is viable and definitely something you should think about. So, what am I thinking? What is my instinct telling me? My instinct is telling me that it's lower than I think. I don't know why. I do not know why. I'm feeling 53 point something? 53. I'll just go straight out with it. I'm going 53.26. I was actually still in the clan. I thought Sepp left. Nice. I'm feeling 1.5 something. 1,500 and no. Light tanks. 1,534. I'll go with. Okay, so estimate is 53.26, 1,534. Oh, it's sad. said it was lower than I thought. I said my instinct was telling me it was lower. My instinct was telling me it was lower. Oh no, okay. Right. A very slightly above average player working hard in a Manticore. Love to see that. Okay. Well, let me send that gold off then. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching another episode. Look in the description for the next and previous videos and the playlist as well. You can find out how to submit your replays there as well. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Humanity peaks at our community manager. He is mentally jacked and strengthening our backs just like the counterweight on the turret of the challenger. Cause if we find ourselves in a crappy mood, you will brighten our day just through your attitude. Steven and Peabody, badass crew. So please take the song as a token of my gratitude.